Hello, beautiful soul, I'm Leo, and welcome back to Mystic Twinflame Tarot Psychic. Today we're looking into the current status of a relationship, just checking in on where things truly stand right now. I'm being called by Spirit to pull several cards before we dive deeply into what's unfolding here. So let's see what the universe wants to reveal to you in this moment. Take a deep breath with me and let's open ourselves to the truth that needs to come through. As the cards begin to speak, I'm immediately seeing Focus in reverse, Prince in reverse, God in reverse, and Samaritan in reverse. Right away, this tells me we're dealing with a masculine energy who is going through profound changes and challenges in his life. And beautiful soul, this is a masculine who is hurting deeply, truly, genuinely hurting on a soul level. But instead of facing what's actually hurting him, instead of addressing the pain he carries within, instead of doing the inner work that would heal and transform him, this person is putting on a performance. I keep hearing Pisces energy strongly. There may be strong Pisces placements here, or he's operating in that scattered escapist energy that Pisces can fall into when wounded. But rather than turning inward to heal, rather than sitting with his pain and processing it, in this masculine is going outward, acting pompous, arrogant, putting on a show as if he's all that and a bag of chips. People around him are starting to perceive him as cruel, snappy, sharp-tongued, always carrying an attitude. He's become that person who walks into a room and everyone tenses up because they don't know what mood he's going to be in. He's exhausting to be around, draining because everything is a performance with him. He's presenting himself in this exaggerated 90s rapper type of energy, popping his collar, chest puffed out, acting like he's one of them guys, like he's somebody important, somebody people should recognize and respect. But it's performative, beautiful soul. It's all an act. He's overacting, overcompensating, doing the absolute most to try to convince everyone, including himself, that he's something he's not. He's in wannabe energy, desperately seeking recognition and appreciation, forcing people to validate him, practically begging for acknowledgement without actually earning it. And though he doesn't realize it, his desperation shows through every action, every word, every choice. People can see it, they can feel it. It's uncomfortable to witness. He thinks he's fooling everyone, but the truth radiates from him like a beacon. This masculine has completely lost his focus. He's scattered all over the place, unable to maintain any kind of consistent direction or purpose. Things are not right in his life right now. He's not feeling good about himself deep down, and he's acting out as a result. When we don't deal with our pain, when we don't address our wounds, they come out sideways. And that's exactly what's happening here. The gossip card confirms that people are talking about how he's behaving, how he's clowning, how he's showing up at every single party already intoxicated, how he's wearing excessive red clothing trying to draw attention to himself, how he's leaning into purely hedonistic pleasures. I'm talking about someone who's at every social event, every gathering, every function, making himself the center of attention in the most uncomfortable ways. He's becoming a spectacle, beautiful soul, even a menace. He's the person who arrives at family gatherings already drunk, who stays up partying for 2 or 3 days straight, then tries to drag himself to work and ends up sleeping on the job. And when someone has the courage to confront him about it, when someone tries to hold him accountable, he cuts up on them. He gets defensive, aggressive, turns it around on them. He's depending on others for money at this stage in his life when he should be self-sufficient. And that's creating a whole other layer of dysfunction in his relationships and in how people perceive him. Now, let me tell you what's truly at the foundation of all this. Because Spirit is showing me the root cause, the original wound, the genesis of this entire pattern. This masculine was deeply spoiled growing up. And I'm not talking about just being loved or cared for. I'm talking about overindulged, given everything without having to work for it, shielded from consequences, particularly by elders in his family. Aunts and grandparents especially had a hand in creating this dynamic. They gave him everything he wanted, Whenever he wanted it, they never let him struggle. They never let him fail. They swooped in to rescue him from every uncomfortable situation. And now, as an adult, he cannot function under normal adult pressures because he was never taught how to handle adversity, how to persevere, how to problem solve when things get difficult. When stress or responsibility enters his life, and I'm talking about basic adult responsibilities that most people navigate daily, he completely falls apart because he was never equipped with those skills. He was never taught resilience. He was never allowed to build that muscle of persistence and self-reliance. Shape-shifting in reverse reveals that he's stuck in a very specific developmental stage. It's time for him to evolve into a king, to step into leadership, maturity, wisdom, to become someone who benefits others, who contributes, who leads. But he doesn't know how. He has no roadmap for that because he was never required to grow in those ways. He's being called by life itself to transition from little brother or junior or the baby of the family into being the man, the elder, the one people look to for guidance and support. He's supposed to be moving into that phase of life where he's the one offering wisdom, the one younger people learn from, the one who's established and grounded, and he's completely unprepared for that shift. Nobody's sending him money anymore, like they used to. Nobody's making things easy. Those family members who used to bail him out have either passed away, run out of resources themselves, or finally established boundaries and stopped enabling him. He can't just call home for mama to send a check anymore. He's expected to stand on his own 2 feet now, to handle his own affairs, to be a fully functioning adult. And he's falling apart under that weight, absolutely crumbling. This person is desperately hoping someone will love him out of his mess, that someone will just do it for him, fix it for him, rescue him like his family used to. He's looking for someone to send money for his kids, for his bills, for his lifestyle. He's hoping someone will just communicate to him that they're going to be the activation, that they're going to blow life into his existence, breathe wind and energy and finances into his situation without him having to do the work. He's even struggling spiritually because he doesn't understand why God or the universe isn't rescuing him the way his family used to. The Exorcist card shows he's down at church asking for prayer, attending services hoping for a miracle, wondering if something demonic is blocking his blessings, questioning whether an ex put a hex on him or if there's some spiritual warfare preventing his success. He's looking for external explanations for internal problems. Beautiful soul. He's looking for someone or something to blame rather than taking accountability for his own lack of development and preparation for adult life. Beautiful soul, this masculine is hopelessly immature. That's the truth you need to accept and really sit with. I know it might be hard to hear, especially if you care about this person, especially if you've invested time and energy into this connection. But this is the reality. These troubles you're witnessing, the acting out, the lack of focus on work or responsibilities, the erratic behavior, the poor choices, all of it stems from the fact that he genuinely does not know how to be an adult. He doesn't know how to go out into the world and make things happen for himself. He doesn't understand the basic principles of cause and effect, of sowing and reaping, of putting in effort to get results. He's still operating from a child's mindset where things should just be given to him because he exists, because he wants them, because someone should take care of it for him. Slave in reverse shows that one major issue you've been frustrated by is how he challenges your choices and questions why you do things the way you do. He'll ask why you work so hard, why you're so focused on your responsibilities, why you're always planning and organizing, why you can't just relax and enjoy life. But you operate the way you do because you don't struggle with adult responsibilities and making necessary sacrifices. You understand that today's discipline creates tomorrow's freedom. You understand delayed gratification. You understand investment. This is like the grasshopper questioning the ant about preparing for winter. The grasshopper spent all summer playing and enjoying himself while the ant worked and stored food. And now the grasshopper can't understand why the ant was so uptight and no fun. He can't comprehend that the ant was actually being wise, being responsible, being prepared. Another truth you need to hear: he's still in womanizing energy. And I want to be clear, not necessarily to be intentionally hurtful to you, not because he's trying to destroy you or disrespect you deliberately, but because he doesn't take life seriously. He doesn't take relationships seriously. He doesn't take commitment seriously. To him, everything is still a game, still something casual, still something that doesn't require real depth or loyalty or integrity. The core message here is that there's a massive maturity gap between you and this person. Their actions that feel frustrating, childish, irresponsible, and hurtful aren't necessarily coming from malicious intent. They're coming from the fact that this is legitimately where they are mentally and emotionally right now. This is their actual developmental level. They're not pretending to be immature. They're not choosing to be childish to hurt you. This is genuinely who they are at this point in their journey. And beautiful soul, you cannot love someone into maturity. You cannot sacrifice enough, be patient enough, be understanding enough to force someone to grow up. They have to choose that for themselves, and they have to do the work themselves. For any masculine energies listening who resonate with the opposite role, the same applies to you. You may have a feminine energy in your life who's immature, throwing tantrums when she doesn't get her way, expecting bailouts from you financially, acting like a brat when you establish boundaries, having emotional fits that are completely disproportionate to the situation. The pattern is the same. She's functioning as a child of overindulgent parents, still expecting to be rescued, still expecting someone else to take responsibility for her life and her choices rather than taking full responsibility for herself as adults do. Shapeshifter energy shows this person is going to change, but here's the hard truth. They're going backwards, not forwards. They're regressing, not progressing. The Breach card confirms they'll start expecting even more from you. More financial support, more emotional labor, more rescuing, more carrying them through life. The dependency is going to increase, not decrease. They may not be able to hold a job consistently. Every few months, it's a new position, a new opportunity that just didn't work out, a new situation where the boss was unfair, or the co-workers were against them, or the schedule was too demanding. They may not be able to start or sustain a business because fundamentally they're irresponsible with money and with planning and with follow-through. Not because they can't attract money or opportunities. The universe actually sends them plenty of both, but because they expect it to magically appear and sustain itself without them having to manage it, nurture it, protect it, grow it. They think money should just show up at the door in an envelope without them having to work for it, plan for it, or be responsible with it. Martyr in reverse reveals their deep addiction to self-pity. This is someone who's always the victim in their own story. When you ask, "How did you get fired this time?" they'll tell you everything the supervisor did wrong, every way the company mistreated them, every unfair policy. They'll never mention that they came in late 4 times in 1 week. They'll never acknowledge that they were on their phone during important meetings. They'll never admit that they didn't complete assignments on time. They operate with teenager logic, beautiful soul, always finding external reasons why rules shouldn't apply to them, always expecting others to understand and make exceptions, always believing that their circumstances are special enough to warrant different treatment. Anyone who's raised teenagers, worked with teenagers, taught teenagers knows exactly this energy. There's always a but attached to every accountability moment. I was late, but my car. I didn't finish the assignment, but the way you explained it. I know I said I would, but you should understand that. It's impossible to get them to take full ownership of anything. There's always someone or something else to blame. Alchemist in reverse shows that when they do get responsibility, when someone trusts them with leadership, with a project, with authority. They misuse it completely. They overstep boundaries, overdo everything, mismanage what they've been given. They get removed from friend groups because they don't know how to be appropriately social. They try to be the boss of the friend group when nobody elected them. They try to control how everyone spends their time, where everyone goes, what everyone does. They lose relationships because they try to control their partner when they have no life skills themselves to justify that control. They have no foundation, no stability, no real leadership qualities, but they still try to dictate and dominate. They get fired from jobs because they try to manage when they're not the manager. They tell other employees what to do, question their supervisor's decisions publicly, overstep their role constantly. This person has a fundamentally flawed and childlike personality and beautiful soul. Somebody needs to get really real about this really quickly before more time and energy is wasted. This person is constantly out partying, always at every social event, every gathering, every function. They're always in the streets running around, always at the club, always at someone's house party, always out in the suburbs at whatever gathering is happening. If there's a get-together, they're going to be there. They want to party more than they want to handle their responsibilities. And here's what's really telling. They'll lose their job on a Tuesday and still go party on Tuesday night. They'll get bailout money from a family member to cover rent, and instead of paying the rent like they said they would, they'll go buy designer clothes, designer shoes, bottle service at the club. When you point this out, when you question their priorities, they'll justify it with the most absurd reasoning. I pulled money from my aunt's inheritance and I spent a lot of it at the casino, but I deserve to celebrate considering I just lost my job. That's literally the type of thinking we're dealing with. They think celebrating a job loss makes sense. They think rewarding failure is logical. They think their looks and charisma and charm should be enough to carry them through life. That those qualities alone should open doors and sustain them. And they are charming, they are attractive. They do have natural charisma. But blessing in reverse confirms this won't bring them anything sustainable from you or anyone else. You won't keep them around just because they're good looking or can lay good pipe or know how to talk a good game. That's not enough for a real relationship, for a real partnership, for a real future. And you know that. Rebel in reverse shows you're going to see this person for exactly who they are. Someone who constantly acts out, cuts up, disrupts, creates chaos, and you're going to start looking elsewhere. You're going to start emotionally detaching, mentally preparing your exit, energetically withdrawing your investment. When they sense you pulling away, when they feel your energy shifting, Poet in reverse reveals their strategy, lying and running game. That's the best they know how to do. They don't know how to have a real conversation. They don't know how to be vulnerable and accountable. They don't know how to say, "You're right, I need to change, and here's my plan for doing that." Instead, they'll tell you what they think you want to hear. They'll make promises they have no intention of keeping. They'll paint pictures of a future they're not capable of creating. They're emotionally crippled when it comes to maintaining real relationships. Beautiful soul. They just don't have the tools. They don't know how life works. They don't understand what it takes to build something real and lasting with another person. The Hermit card that fell out confirms what's coming next in this story. This person is going to sit alone in their space and realize you're moving away from them. They're going to feel the shift. They're going to sense the ending. And here's what you need to understand about their psychology, their patterns, how they operate. They're a flake and a coward at their core. When things don't go their way, when situations get uncomfortable, when they're faced with the consequences of their choices, they don't work through it, they just walk away. They ghost, they disappear, they abandon ship. When a job doesn't agree with them, they walk off without notice. When family members stop enabling them, they hang up the phone and cut off contact. When a relationship requires real work, they just stop responding and vanish. Then they run back to partying, dancing, drinking, living in their fantasy world. where they're the star of their own movie and nothing is ever their fault. This person lives in a delusion, beautiful soul, maybe thinking they're a rapper who's about to blow up, a rock star living the dream, a member of some powerful family like the Corleones, where respect is just owed to them. I keep getting this hip-hop fantasy energy, this idea that there's somebody important, somebody special, somebody who doesn't have to live by normal rules. They don't see reality, they're completely detached from what's actually happening in their life and how they're actually perceived by others. They don't realize how exhausting they've become to everyone around them, to co-workers who are tired of covering for them, to family members who see a 38 or 48 or even 58-year-old, still behaving like an 8-year-old, still making excuses, still expecting to be taken care of, still throwing tantrums when life doesn't go their way. This person has burned bridges they don't even know about yet. There are people who have completely written them off, who have decided they're done, who will never help them or trust them again. And this person is still operating like those relationships are solid, like those doors are still open. And they're running back to the streets thinking the streets are waiting for them with open arms, thinking they're still that person everyone wants around. The truth? They haven't made it far in their career because they're irresponsible and unreliable. They don't have much education because they can't apply themselves to anything that requires sustained effort. They've never tried to work anything out, never fought for anything, never built anything from the ground up. Four of Pentacles shows they're now looking for low-level connections, people they don't even have to spend money on because they don't have any money to spend. They're looking for people who are even more lost than they are, people who won't question them or challenge them or expect anything from them. And here's the mistake many people have made about this person, and you might have made it too, thinking that when they realize they can't afford the lifestyle they want, that would wise them up, that would be the wake-up call. That would make them get serious about working harder, planning better, being more responsible. But that's not what happened. Instead of rising to meet the standard, they lowered the standard. Instead of working harder to maintain proximity to good things and good people so they could level up, they started seeking out lower frequency people and lower quality situations. They said, you know what? I'm just gonna do whatever and be with whoever because I don't care anymore. Once you've moved on from them, and you won't even care when they ghost because you're emotionally done, you're energetically complete with this lesson. They'll go become king of the bottom feeders. The Emperor card shows up, but it's Emperor of nothing. They'll find some group of equally lost people and position themselves as the leader, the big man, the one with all the answers. They don't care about the quality of the kingdom as long as they can feel like a king. As long as someone is looking up to them, listening to them, validating them, they're satisfied. King of Swords with Four of Swords shows they don't think deeply about much of anything. They don't plan beyond the next party, the next drink, the next temporary pleasure. They don't do much that's productive or purposeful. They're not outgoing in the sense of being ambitious or goal-oriented. They're outgoing in the sense of always being out, always being in the streets, always being in the scene. But they're not building anything. They're not moving toward anything meaningful. Death card, with Three of Cups, shows they're transitioning into permanent party guy or party girl energy. This becomes their identity. This becomes who they are. Don't be surprised if months or years from now, when you've moved on and elevated and created the beautiful life you deserve, you happen to drive through a certain area and see them standing around in front of liquor stores, hanging outside pubs before they're even open, sitting in their car in a parking lot talking to other lost souls who have nowhere to go and nothing to do. This is the trajectory they're on unless they make a serious decision to change. And beautiful soul, nothing you've seen suggests they're anywhere close to making that decision. He's gonna start dating much younger people because they're the only ones who don't know he's a loser yet. The only ones who haven't heard the stories, the only ones who might still be impressed by his surface-level charm. A 28-year-old trying to date 18-year-olds who don't have enough life experience to see through the act. a 56-year-old pursuing 23-year-olds who are young enough to mistake his chaos for excitement. His family is devastated by what he's become. They're disappointed, confused, heartbroken. They thought they raised him well, thought they did right by him, thought giving him everything would set him up for success. They maybe even put him through college, invested in his business ideas, helped him get an office or a storefront or equipment, and he did nothing with any of it. He squandered every opportunity, wasted every blessing, took every gift for granted. Four of Wands with Knight of Pentacles shows him married to the life, the streets, the scene, the nightlife, the party circuit. Money coming in slower than slow or not coming in at all, but he doesn't care. He's out there in the scene, getting into fights, getting into conflicts, getting into barroom brawls that are gonna start affecting even his physical appearance, his looks, one of the few assets he thought he could always rely on. Those scars accumulate. Beautiful soul. The drinking ages him. The stress shows on his face. The lack of self-care catches up. The lifestyle takes its toll, and one day he won't even have his looks to fall back on anymore. Eventually, he ends up in a controlling, toxic situation with a woman he's trying to control. And there's Nine of Pentacles energy here, but it's twisted. There's domestic violence energy emerging in this dynamic. He'll pressure this Queen of Cups woman to be the breadwinner while he remains irresponsible and unproductive. He'll try to run her life, manage her money that she's earning, dictate how she spends her time, all while contributing nothing himself. Judgment card shows this arrangement ultimately brings judgment and consequences upon him. Church bells should be ringing when judgment appears. And even though Spirit is showing me that there are consequences coming, there are also lessons he's meant to learn. He becomes a loafer, a charity case to whoever will tolerate him, eventually finding himself completely shipwrecked emotionally, spiritually, financially. The Sun card with 8 of Cups and 8 of Wands shows he still talks like he's a big dog, a big man, somebody important. But he's not, and the community sees it clearly. Whether it's the church community, the online community, people in your neighborhood, people in professional circles. It doesn't matter who the community is, you're going to hear about his downfall. The fall becomes public knowledge. It becomes a cautionary tale. 3 of Pentacles with Queen of Swords confirms it becomes the talk of the community. People discuss what happened to him, how far he fell, how he wasted his potential. But for you, beautiful soul, you're completely done. You're at peace with walking away. You're clear about why this didn't work. Once he walks out of your life or you walk out of his, the situation becomes simply a lesson for you. You realize this man was truly comfortable being a bum, truly okay with mediocrity, despite coming from a good family, despite having resources, despite looking like he should be about something meaningful. Mother and child cards show that during your time together you may have been in mothering energy with him, trying to guide him, nurture him, teach him, help him grow up. But this man doesn't stay in anyone's life long, who has standards, who has expectations, who requires reciprocity and partnership. He humiliates himself through his choices and behavior, then runs back to the wilderness, back to people more at his level who won't challenge him to be better. He was still in a child state of mind. That's the fundamental reason why you couldn't forge anything lasting with him. You can't build a future with someone who's still mentally and emotionally a child. He likes to see himself as a victim of circumstances beyond his control, unable to understand that at 38 or 48 years old, it's time to take full responsibility for his life. He still needs coddling and nurturing like a child needs from a parent. And so he becomes a bum that some woman with low self-esteem or codependent tendencies bosses around and takes care of. Because he never learned to be a man, never learned to step into the next wave of his life, never learned what true leadership and maturity look like. This masculine simply wasn't equipped to lead you or anyone else. He didn't have what it takes for your life and circumstances. He didn't have the maturity, the vision, the discipline, the integrity, the consistency. And that's the simple truth of this situation. Beautiful soul, you deserved a partner, and what you had was a project. You deserved someone walking beside you, and what you had was someone you were carrying. And there's no shame in recognizing that and choosing to put that burden down. If this message resonates with you, if you felt the truth of Spirit speaking directly to your situation, please like and subscribe to Mystic Twinflame Tarot Psychic. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a reading when Spirit has messages to share with you. Share this with someone who needs to hear this truth today, someone who might be in a similar situation and needs permission to walk away from what's not serving them. Blessings on your journey, beautiful soul. You are worthy of real partnership, real love, real commitment. Don't settle for less.